A rule of thumb refers to something which can be easily learned and easily applied to a situation. These rules are mostly based on practical experience and are present everywhere, including investing. So in this video, we look at 11 popular thumb rules that you can use in growing, saving, and managing your money. Let's begin with the first one, the rule of 72. The rule of 72 helps you estimate by when your money will double. For instance, say you invest your money in a perpetual fixed deposit that offers an yearly interest of 6%. To know by when your money will double, simply take 72 in the numerator and divide it by 6%. This comes to 12, which means your money will double in 12 years. Now you can also reverse this rule to determine how much returns you need from a financial instrument to double your money. For example, you want to double your money in 5 years. Again, 72 in the numerator and then divided by 5. The answer comes to 14.4, which means you need to invest money in something that gives you an annual return of roughly 14.4% over the next 5 years for you to double your money. And that's the rule of 72. Much like the rule of 72, the rule of 114 gives you an estimate of how much time will it take for you to triple your money. For instance, if you were to invest 1 lakh rupees in a product that can deliver 12% annual returns, then per the rule of 114, this 1 lakh will become 3 lakhs in about 9.5 years. In fact, here's how you can use the same example and extend it. So 1 lakh becomes 3 in 9.5. Okay, let's take it as 10 years. Now, if 1 becomes 3 in 10 years, 1 becomes 3 raised to the power 2 in 20 years. So 1 lakh becomes 9 lakhs in 20 years. So in 30 years, it's 3 raised to the power 3, so 27 lakhs. And in 40 years, it's 3 raised to the power 4, so that's 81 lakhs. Which effectively means if you gift 12 lakhs to your child on his or her 20th birthday and invested in an instrument that makes 12% for the next 40 years, then that's like giving your child a 10 crore retirement present. Okay, it's a crude example, but I'm sure you get the point. The rule of 70 estimates the impact of inflation on your wealth. In other words, this rule determines the value of your current wealth a few years down the line. This is done by using the number 70 and dividing it by the expected long-term inflation rate. The resulting number gives you the number of years by when your wealth will be worth half of what it is today. For instance, say you have accumulated 50 lakhs and the long-term inflation for India is estimated at 5%. So going by the rule of 70, we have 70 divided by 5%, which comes to 14, which means the real worth of your 50 lakhs after adjusting for inflation would halve down to 25 lakhs in 14 years from now. So 50 becomes 25 in 14 years, and that's the rule of 70. A primary factor in our investment decisions is the expected rate of return. And the 10-5-3 is a thumb rule that is often cited in most long-term investing calculations. The rule is quite simple and says that when making long-term decisions, expect a 10% annual returns from equities, a 5% yearly return from debt instruments, and a 3% annualized return from your savings bank account. Of course, like any thumb rule, these numbers are not guaranteed, but this 10-5-3 rule does give you a workable and slightly conservative premise for your long-term estimations. The 100 minus age rule is something we have discussed earlier on the ET Money YouTube channel in a video on asset allocation. The 100 minus age thumb rule is a simple way to program one's asset allocation, that is, how much one should allocate in equities and how much in debt. This is done by subtracting your age from 100, and the resulting number is the percentage of your wealth that should be invested in equities. For example, if you are 30 years of age, then 100 minus 30, which means 70% should be in equities and the remaining 30% should be in debt. Of course, this rule does have some shortcomings. For instance, it does not take into account different types of goals you might have or your risk profile. But on the whole, a thumb rule like this is better than having none at all. So if you're clueless about your asset allocation strategy, then start off with the 100 minus age rule, or better still, watch the video on our YouTube channel. The 4% withdrawal rule is a post-retirement thumb rule and helps you determine how long your retirement fund will last. From a 4% context, the rule says that if you have accumulated X amount of money at retirement, then you should withdraw only 4% of this X amount in every retirement year. For instance, if you have a 1 crore retirement corpus, then one should withdraw not more than 4 lakhs per year or 33,000 rupees every month. This way, one can be assured that in most scenarios, you will not run out of money in your lifetime. Of course, I should mention that this rule was created way back in 1994 when the inflation and treasury yields in the United States were much higher than what it is today. The 4% rule does not work well in today's times, and definitely the dynamics for a developing country like India are much different from other developed countries. But if you come across a modified version of this thumb rule, then do give it a shout and let us know in the comments box below. The 50-30-20 rule is one of the most commonly used thumb rules by financial planners. The ratio aims to divide your income into a spending and saving cycle by recommending 1. How much you should spend from your monthly income on living expenses like rent, groceries, electricity, etc. 2. How much you should spend on discretionary expenses like eating out, movies, gifts, gym membership, and so on. And finally, how much should one save and invest? This ratio is ideally 50-30-20, that is 50% of your income on living expenses, 30% on discretionary expenses, and the remaining 20% is saved and invested. Of course, this is not a very hard and fast rule, and if you can save more than 20%, then you're most welcome to do that. Also, this ratio is a basic guideline to better manage your money. So depending on your life stage, income, and life priorities, you may want to fine-tune this ratio to achieve the best results for yourself. The 3x emergency fund rule is a rather simple one and says that one should at all times keep 3 times of your monthly income in an emergency fund. Of course, this is the bare minimum and you can go up to 6 months and keep building if you feel the need to do so. The purpose of this fund will be to keep you financially stable in case of emergencies like loss of employment, urgent travel, repairs, a medical emergency, etc. And an excellent way to manage your emergency fund is with ET Money's Smart Deposit, which invests your money in liquid funds and allows a 24/7 daily withdrawal of up to 50,000 rupees a day. It's a super efficient way of managing your emergency fund and is used by tens of thousands of our investors. When the Amazon website says somewhere, customers who bought this also bought, it is not doing you a favor, but is trying to get you to commit the biggest sin of them all, and that is impulse spending. The pricing, the promotion, packaging, previous purchase history, signages, category placement are all modified and manipulated to get you to buy more than what you actually need. And perhaps that's why the 1 week spending thumb rule is highly recommended for all. The rule says if something shiny, something new were to catch your eye and you feel like buying it, then wait for an entire week before buying it. This hibernation of 1 week will give you time to think through your decision as you answer some important questions in peace. Questions like, how useful will this purchase be? What is the return on my investment? How was I living without having this product? Can this money be used elsewhere for something that's more important? And if after a week you still feel strongly about the purchase, you should then only go for it. This 1 week hiatus between seeing and buying is a great tool, and if done religiously, it can help you prevent a lot of wasteful expenses. The 40% EMI rule is something that loan providers and credit card companies use when they first receive a loan application. This thumb rule says that all EMIs combined should ideally be no more than 40% of your take-home income. For instance, if your monthly take-home or post-tax salary is 50,000 rupees, then your combined EMIs should not be more than 20,000. Again, this is not a compulsion and no one stops you from going over this 40% limit, but it is generally observed that EMIs over 40% of one's take-home salary ends up putting significant stress on one's finances. So do exercise financial caution when you take loans and do try and stay within the 40% limit. A personal finance portfolio is never complete without a life insurance policy. So if you have life insurance or are planning to buy one, do ensure that the sum assured offered to you is at least 20 times your current annual income. Now, some insurance companies might offer 20 times, some might offer 15, but if you're in your 20s and 30s, then do strive for 20x, as this multiplier will ensure adequate financial protection to your family in case of your untimely demise. In fact, the ET Money app has a term insurance section where we help our users compare and buy term policies online. Do check that out if you're still falling short of the 20x life cover rule. And with this, we come to the end of this video. I sure hope you like this presentation and will use some of these thumb rules in your day-to-day functioning. On the ET Money YouTube channel, we cover many investing and personal finance topics, so do subscribe to the channel and help us spread the good word by sharing this video over WhatsApp, Facebook and Twitter with your friends and connections. Thank you for your time and we look forward to catching up with you next week with another insightful video. Until then.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.